Well, at least the Padres didn't try to pull the same shit from 2015 again. But hey, Eric Hosmer and Will Myers, let's have a look at what this team might become this year. Although this roster has some good parts to it, there are still some holes that are not filled up properly. Now, in terms of their strengths, their lineup is one of them. And they did end up picking Eric Hosmer, Freddie Galvis, and Chase Headley up, with Eric Hosmer being that big free agent signing. I'm not sure how well he'll do in Petco Park, but there's still at least some promise with him and Will Myers at 3 and 4. And then there's also Chase Headley and Freddie Galvis, a couple of pickups. Not much there. Maybe Chase Headley can be a glimpse of what he used to be, or really for that 2 seasons in San Diego. We'll see what Chase Headley ends up doing there. But if he can be a decent number 2 hitter and a pretty solid fielder, then they'll have a nice hitter in the lineup. And so, in terms of him being back to what he was in 2012, I don't think that'll happen. He really is just solid and he's a solid hitter, not that much else. Not that great. But otherwise, the Padres lineup is pretty good, actually. I like what they have with Will Myers and Eric Hosmer. Jose Pirela should be pretty good in his own right. Then there's Manuel Margot at the top of the lineup. Some pretty good youth and some pretty good pieces in this lineup. And there's also Austin Hedges. Not as good with the bat as he is with his glove. He has some pop, so that might help with him. But the Padres lineup is pretty good, mainly because of Will Myers and Eric Hosmer. I think that'll be some pretty good production, and Jose Pirela and Chase Headley, Emmanuel Margot. I think that'll be pretty solid, so I'll give their lineup a grade of a B-. I'll give it a B-. And now when it comes to their depth, it's okay. It's okay. They do have Corey Spangenberg and Christian Villanueva, Travis Jankowski after them. In the minors, they have Rafi Lopez, Luis Torrens, part of the mess that was the Padres last season. They picked up Alan Craig to be some depth in first base and in the corner outfield in case somebody is injured. Then there's also Ty France, but really there's also Alan Cordoba and Javi Guerra, so we'll see how they do. And then there's also Dusty Coleman, Frenchie Cordero, and then there's Hunter Renfroe and Shane Peterson. So the depth it's not great. And then there's also Alex Dickerson, who will have his season not happen in 2018 because of Tommy John surgery that he had in this month, recently actually. So the Padres' depth is not great, not that bad either. So I'm giving it a C. In terms of their rotation, there's really not much. Tyson Ross hasn't been good since his San Diego days for about 3 seasons. So we'll see how he ends up performing being back in Petco Park. Then there's also Brian Mitchell, who they got. I can't remember who they sent to New York, but they ended up getting Brian Mitchell back. So hopefully he'll provide something in the rotation. And then otherwise, they have a castaway in Clayton Richard, and a couple of young guys in Luis Perdomo and Dinelson Lamet. There is a pitcher that can come up this year, that is projected to come up this year, in Joey Lucchesi. In mid-2018 is his MLB ETA, so we'll see how that goes for him. And, otherwise, this rotation, not that good. It's a C- to me. So, in terms of their bullpen, they have some pretty good pieces in Brad Hand and Craig Stammen and Kazuhisa Makita. And then there's also Carter Capps, who is out with injury right now, recovering from thoracic outlet syndrome surgery. I'm not sure how to pronounce that thoracic word, but he did end up having surgery. So if he does come back in the season, then that will be a good addition to the bullpen. Carter Capps is pretty solid. And so there are some pieces in this bullpen. There are also not some pieces. Hopefully Kirby Yates can be what he was towards the end of the season last year. But If he isn't, then, I mean, just another not-so-good bullpen pitcher to go along with Buddy Ballman, Phil Maton, and Jordan Lyles. But we'll see how things go for the Padres. But for right now, there's also Jose Torres, who is on the restricted list. But as of right now, the bullpen grade gets a B-. It's solid. Solid. Not great, but it's solid. Well, I have some good news and bad news with the Padres this year. The good news is that they'll be better this year. The bad news is that it'll only be by 3 wins. In terms of what they have, $20.5 million in dead money and castaway free agent acquisitions, besides Eric Hosmer, of course. And speaking of Eric Hosmer, him and Will Myers can do a lot, but they can't make up the rest of the hitting core or the rotation. And while there are some pieces in the lineup, there's still not enough for me to think that this team will be any better than 75 wins this season. In terms of the over-under from Fangraphs, it's 72 and 90. My prediction is 74 and 88, so over, but not by much. I still have them finishing 5th in the NL West. They finished 4th last year, but I don't think the Giants are going to be as bad as they were last year. So let me know if you agree. Let me know why I'm underrating this talented team. This is a predictions video, and predictions are all about discussion and debate, so if you have rationale, I'll listen. If not, I'm not taking you seriously. So otherwise, that'll do it for this Padres edition of 2018 MLB season previews, and so long.